Hi everyone and welcome to a new lecture of PHP. In this lecture I'm going to teach you how to pass values or send values through the URL. So as you know, to do this we must use the get method, and all of this to be able to edit or delete any user we have on the table output users that we've created in the last app. So let's open our web project if we've been creating. So XAMPP htdocs web project 1, and if you click output, this will output all the users that you have on the database in the table. So let's run this script. Let's start Apache and MySQL. Let's run Chrome. Okay, so localhost output.php. There it is. So we have this table, and the only thing we can do is to see the name and the email. What I'm going to do is to create three new columns. One for date registered, so the date that the user registered. I'm going to create another column for to delete. Okay, so whenever we click in each user delete, it will delete himself from the database. And then I'm going to create another column to edit the values of the user. So basically we're creating a control panel or a table where we control the users, okay, that we have on the database or registered on our website. So in order to do all this, we must pass values through the URL with the get, okay, with the get method. Let's go back to the code. The first thing is we need to go to the database, okay, PHP MySQL, and we need to create a new table on the database for the registration date. Okay, so my first database, users, and we need the registration date. So to include an extra column here or field, we must go to click users and then columns and add one column at the end of the table, and after password at the end, click go. Okay, now the name, let's type registration date. The type is date time. Okay, the length you can type 50, default none, and that's it. Save it. Okay, so if we go to columns now, we have registration time or registration date, sorry, to store all the values for the registration date of each user. Okay. Okay, so we have that ready. Let's go back to the script. Let's define a new query here. And this query is going to be called Q equals, and now select last name. Let's type also the first name, comma, and then date, format, and here let's type the registration inside the parentheses, registration, the name of the field that we've just created, registration date, comma, and then we type between single quotes, we type the percentage symbol and then capital M, the percentage symbol, and D, comma, and the percentage symbol and Y. And this stands for grab the month, the day, and the year, okay, as the registration date. Now close this. Now we type as dr comma, and after the comma, user ID, the field ID from users, order by registration date, ASC, and semicolon. Okay, now this is a very, very important query, and basically what we've done here is select the last first name, the date format, and basically this will display all the information that we want on to grab from the database and we want to output on our table. But let's continue and you'll see the output of all of this in a minute. So let's save this. Now here, instead of select all from users, let's change this and we need to put the query, okay, variable. Now after this, we need the number of returned rows. Okay, so let's type num equals, you already know how to do this from the past videos, MySQL I num rows, semicolon, and here we type the variable R, okay, that holds the query here. So now down here, I'm going to type if condition saying if none is bigger than 0, if we have any rows at all, do the following code. So here, if any rows returned display records. Now the first thing I want to display is echo there are num registered users. Okay, and close paragraph and semicolon, and here we can type inform how many users are. Okay, save this. Now down here, let's create the else statement here. And the else statement will say echo there are currently no registered users. Okay. Now we can even grab this and put this in here. Order by name. Okay, save this. So let's take this out of here. The table, we will create the table later on. Or let's grab all this for now. Let's grab all this, the table, copy, delete it from here, and we can put it inside the if condition. Great. Okay. Let's align this to the right, and that's it. Perfect. Okay, save this. Now let's create the table. So instead of email, we need a few more columns, right? So let's grab this. Okay, let's grab one more. I think they were five columns, I think. So let me type here. Okay, so the first was name. Sorry, let's type. The first is going to be edit. This is going to be delete. This is going to be name, email, and the last column is going to be registered, or let's type here, date registered. Okay, let's save this. And let's open this in Chrome. So let's type localhost and then web project 1 and output.php. Okay, so there are 6 registered users, and then we have a bunch of problems in line 38, but we will solve this. We'll solve this in a minute. Don't worry. And yeah. Okay. So here, let's delete this. We don't need it. We don't need this as well. Okay. Here and here. Okay, save this. Great. Now here we have to change or grab more values. We have created the while loop to create an associative array to grab the values last name, first name, and email. But we need to grab the date registered or registration date. Now here let's type values, the registration date. Okay, registration date, last name, first name, and email. So in order for the edit button, this is going to be a button and delete is going to be another button or a link. So whenever we click edit for each user, it will edit or send us to a new page so we can edit this user's information as well as with the delete link. So whenever we click delete, what will happen is that we go to a URL, unique URL for that specific user. Okay. To do that, we need to pass values through the URL. And what I'm going to do here is show you how to do that. It's very simple. So whenever we click edit for each user, let's create TD line equals left, and now dot row, sorry, open ahref, we create a link, okay, and we're going to type edit underscore user dot PHP, and this is the file that we have to create later on, and then question mark ID equals, user ID equals, now we type concatenate row and type ID, okay, which is the ID of the user, concatenate, and then double quote, single quote, and then close the anchor tag and close the TD tag. Okay, let's save this. Now let's do exactly the same thing for the delete field, but instead of edit user here, let's create delete / user, and here we also missed the edit here, and we've missed here as well, sorry, the delete here. Okay, so this is how we can send the user to a new URL. Okay, and if you check here and remember the get method, we are passing the row ID of each user. So whenever we click edit, we'll go to the URL edit underscore user.php, and then we are passing the variable user ID with a new value, which is the ID value of each user. Okay, so we're still missing the registration date. Okay, so let's copy this, save this, and here we can type dr, and down here we need to close the table, obviously. So echo and close table. This is my column, and save it. This. Okay, great. Okay, I think we are done. So let's run this. Okay, let's refresh, and we have syntax and inspect error in line 39. Okay, let's go back and see where the error is. Oh, I forgot to put the dollar symbol here and here. Okay, save this. And let's refresh. Okay, so we have several problems here with the output. I know why, because some of the users that don't have a registration date, because we've created this table after they were registered or inserted on the database. So what we're going to do is go to database, delete all of them, and create new users. So let's delete this. Okay, save this. Now if you go back, and there are currently no registered users, so let's go to a project, register, first name Victor. Okay, male, between 30 and 60. Cool. And password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Submit. One row affected. Everything worked fine. Check all records. Okay. Awesome. But okay, so we are still missing the email and that registered, and then we have also here noticed with email. So let's see what is going on with the email. Okay, so registration date is not working, neither the email, because we didn't type in the query the email here. Okay, so save this and let's refresh. So okay, so we have the edit delete box, Victor, the email, and we still don't have the date registered. So if we go to the database and go to registration date, we see a bunch of zeros, and this is the date and the time in seconds. Okay, but everything is in zero, and I'm going to show you how to change this. Let's just change this for a second and take this out of here, the date format as DR, and let's type plain and simple registration date, which is the name of the field, and save this. And let's go down here, and we also type here the registration date field. Okay, save this. So if we go now to output, refresh, and there it is. Okay, so I still need to put the correct actual time here. Okay, so to do that, let's open the file of the register. So basically, when the user registers his name, email, and password, it will also stamp the date, the current date and hour that he registered. Okay, and to do that, we need to go to the query where it inserts the values of the form. So that's in user form. Here it is. And we have here insert into user first name, last name, email, gender, age, comments, passwords. And we're gonna use a very special function in PHP, which is called the now function. And basically it stamps the current time and hour. You should put here. So comma and now function, and here we need to put the registration field, registration date. Okay, so let's save this and see if it works now. So let's try to register a new user. Let's type Alex Cruz, email, mail here, hi, password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, submit. One row is affected, everything worked fine. And if we go to check all records from database, there are two registered users, Victor, and then we have the second user here, which is outside the table. And let's work this out. Let's see what the problem is. I forgot that the table should be outside the while loop here. Okay, so let's take this out, save this, and we will probably have this working perfectly. And there it is. Okay, as you can see, we have the date and the hour and even the seconds, okay, with the now function. Now, some of you may wonder, why did I created that query in the first place where I had date format. Let me type that again. So it was date format, parenthesis, and then now we type, and here inside we type registration date, which is the field, comma, and then between parentheses, between single quotes, we type the percentage and the M for month, the percentage and D, and now comma, and the percentage and Y for year. Okay, after the parentheses, we type as dr. Okay, and what I'm doing here is I'm creating a date format for the registration date that will give me the month, the day, and then the year. And all of this will be stored as dr that I will later use. And basically here I'm creating ID from users and order it by ascendant order, which means newest registered user should be at the top, okay, by default. Now let's save this and see what happens. But down here we need to type dr here, save this. And if we open output.php, there it is, September 9, 2014. Okay, this is basically a format that you can use if you prefer it this way. Okay, and let's create a new user. As you can see, the first one doesn't have a date, so let's delete the first one. PHP my admin, users. So yeah, let's delete this one here. And now we can go back to web project 1 and register here. Let's register Maria and Cruz, email mcruz@gmail.com, female, whatever, and 1 2 3 4 5, submit. When we're affected, check all the records, and there it is. Okay, the only thing we don't have is the hour, but if you want to output the hour as well, you can go here and type also, use the T for time. Let's go back here, refresh, and there it is. Okay, so now you have month, the day, the year, and the full time hour. Okay guys, so this is all, and see you guys next lecture.